It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Keatsman on a sunny Thursday. Glad to have you with us on this mid-morning. Good to be in the seat. We got a lot to talk about today, including the speech last night from President Donald J. Trump. We will not be leading with that today. I made that mistake on my podcast today. And I made a whole bunch of my podcast listeners unhappy. Pete just said he had a cockamamie idea like I have. Well, I'm going to go all mundo here today because when I talk about Trump's speech, some of you are not going to agree with. Well, it's not that you won't agree with me. I'm just going to tell you a couple of truths about the speech that you don't like, and that's the case. It's been a weird week in Trump world. There's been some unforced errors. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Also today, Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports will be with us as we limp our way to the end of the NFL season. We'll wish him happy holidays, get some thoughts on some games coming up this weekend, and the college football playoff, which starts tomorrow night. Fun stuff. Alabama at Oklahoma in the college football playoff. So we will get into that just a little bit. Mark Van Sickle joins us later on as well. We're going to talk about some sticky shoes at a breakfast place. I don't want to give that away too much. He may know what that means. Sticky shoes at a breakfast place. And how many players will Mark be able to name on the Chiefs roster this Sunday? Or on the field at anyone? They have these things in the press box called a flip chart. And on one side, it's the full roster, and then you flip it over, and it's basically the depth chart at each position. I mean, if you ever had a Chiefs game where you needed it, it's going to be this Sunday.
Are we going to see Hunter Norzad?
Well, of course. Anybody that you've never heard of that's active on Sunday will play. But remember, the Titans are trying to lose too. They only have 2 wins. They could get the number 1 pick in the draft again if they play this right the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Got to go under 37.5 this week.
There you go. 2 of the last 3 games the Chiefs play, they're playing an opponent that's trying to lose. The Titans and the Raiders. And if they just stayed alive mathematically to this point and had these teams they were playing. Like literally the big story around the Titans is Cam Ward, their rookie quarterback, who only has 2 wins in his career, was the number 1 pick last year. He's sort of publicly demanding to be in on hiring the next coach. I get it. If Andy Reid retired at the end of this year, Mahomes would say, I'd kind of like to be consulted on this a little bit. Yes, Patrick, sure. Cam Ward? They're playing a crap show on Sunday, but the Chiefs may not be much better. We start today with good news, and that is the inflation number is 2.7%. They'd like it to be lower, but it's trending that way. The 1-month inflation number was 0.1%. So you can annualize that by multiplying it by 12 and come up with 1.2% annualized, which would be a stunning number and maybe too much. They have to be very careful. They always target 2%. You don't want deflation. That harms people. I'm not an economist, but I sort of know the guardrails and parameters of the game here. To put this into perspective, it's annualized right now at 1.2% based on the last couple of months. The Biden average was 5%. And right now, year over year, it's 2.7%. So the stock market's doing well. Wages are growing faster than 2.7%. So the bottom line, and Trump did not articulate this very well last night, is whether you're feeling it yet or not, you're gaining. The average American is gaining. We're digging out of the Biden COVID era and all the giveaways. Now, before I break down into his speech, I just want to keep with the good economic news and a couple of fun stories because I'm kind of in a fun mood here today. Have you seen Governor Kehoe is for getting rid of income tax in the state of Missouri? And now the GOP committee has said they support this. And they want to push forward on this. Am I the only? I don't even live in Missouri. Am I the only one that's excited about this? Because I'm pretty sure if Missouri does this, Kansas is going to be forced to do it. These are all good ideas. There are plenty of states that don't have income tax, and they do very, very well. They're actually the states doing better than other states. And now the next move is in Florida, where DeSantis wants to get rid of property taxes on houses. Even if it just comes to you don't pay property tax on your house after it's paid off, we can live with that. We can coach Americans to prosperity with the laws that we pass. If you teach young people today, buy a house, pay it off, it's free and clear and an asset that's going to appreciate, and you don't have to, Like Dave Ramsey used to always come on this station and say, pay your house off, pay your house off. You don't own the house, the bank owns your house. No, you know who owns the house? The government owns your house. Because when you pay for it and it's paid off, you're still paying rent to the government. Whether it's your county, whether it's the state, whether it's the Fed, the municipality, whatever it may be, they're all in on it. Your house is never paid for because they tax you for owning it. These are all really bad ideas for taxes. And anytime there's momentum around getting rid of these things, I get excited. I think Governor Kehoe might be the guy in Missouri. Now, they probably have to stair-step this down. You may recall 10 years ago or longer, Sam Brownback was on his way to doing this in Kansas. And they mismanaged a few things in Topeka. They got a couple things wrong. But in the end, what resulted from the tax cuts that went into effect was a surplus in Kansas. It was after Brownback was gone, okay? But there's a surplus. Kansas and Missouri both have extra money right now. They're sitting on cash. That means we're all overtaxed. Whether this is income tax, property tax, whatever it may be, take your pick. Maybe we shouldn't have to pay for our property tax on cars. I don't, just take your pick. We're all overtaxed. The states seem to get this better than the federal government. And guys like Governor Kehoe are going after this. And he's saying, if we're going to compete with Texas and some of these other nearby states for business, we can really kick butt. We have St. Louis and we have Kansas City. We have a wonderful recreation area in the Lake of the Ozarks and Branson and the mountains. Missouri's got a lot of tremendous assets that they could really, really capitalize on. They can also just rip people from across the state line in Illinois and Kansas and maybe even Arkansas and Iowa to move across the border and do whatever it is that they're doing and not pay 6 point whatever percent it is your state income tax is. These are all great ideas. So I feel good about the momentum of where we're going as a rule, and I think Trump has led to a lot of that. These are all very good things. If you don't think they're worried about this, after Trump's speech last night, Jamie Raskin appeared on CNN. He's a Democrat from Maryland, and he's not the brightest bulb. And he came on, and he was upset that Trump had a farm bill last week and then just gave the $1,776 to the soldiers. This was the only thing I learned last night, by the way, in the speech. The only thing I didn't know, it was just red meat for his base. I don't know how people who don't follow politics followed that speech. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But we knew everything. If you listen to this show, you probably knew everything in that speech except for the $1,776 for each of the soldiers. And Raskin comes on after it's over, and he's mad, saying Trump can't build the economy by throwing money around at farmers and soldiers. This on the same day, government statistics show that illegal aliens in America, 50% of them, half of all illegal aliens in America are on home welfare programs. That means they're getting some sort of a handout to pay for their housing. Half the illegal aliens. And Raskin's on there complaining that Trump's doing something for the farmers and the soldiers. Therein lies the difference between a populist, because Trump is not a true conservative. If he was a true conservative, he would not be giving this money away. It would all be about cutting the deficit, leveling the budget, running the government like it was a business. But he's a politician and a populist. And he wants to give money to the soldiers, and that sounds great to me. Most people hear that and love that. Hey, we got to help our farmers. Most people hear that and love that. The difference is the Democrats don't run around bragging that their $1 trillion Inflation Addition Act, or whatever it was, is giving money to illegal aliens to house them. They don't campaign on that. They don't brag about it. So Raskin is all bent out of shape that Trump is doing this for farmers and soldiers because he knows it'll be popular with polling, that most Americans agree with it. What I would just ask Democrats, I heard Mayor Lucas today, and he was good. I don't really have a problem with Mayor Lucas. He is, as Democrats go, he probably is more left than he says or does here, but he's in a very red area of the country as a big city mayor. So I understand his challenges. What I don't understand about Democrats is if they're always worried about polling and Republicans polling well on this issue and that issue, why not agree with them? Why not just say, yes, more for our soldiers is a good idea? It used to be that way. Democrats used to do this stuff all the time. And when the economic news is good like it is today, they would come out and say it. Great. We hope this works. We're rooting for America. We don't like Donald Trump. We think he's a nasty, vile human being. We think he's despicable. What he posted about Rob Reiner is awful. We think he was a philanderer back in the day. We think he's a cheat. He's a fraud. Say whatever you want. But we want this to work for all Americans. Why can't Democrats say that? Were you rooting against America when Biden was president? I wasn't rooting against America. I didn't want to. Were you rooting for the inflation so the Republicans could win the election? Who thinks like that? I mean, seriously, were you rooting? Look, they're their own worst enemy. All the trans stuff, all the ideology, all the things that they do, they make their own bed, and they have to deal with that. But I wasn't rooting. Once that Inflation Increase Act was passed, I was hopeful it wasn't going to lead to all that inflation, but it did, and it sucked. But these people, the Jamie Raskins, are like, well, that's what we do is give money away. And you're giving it to farmers and soldiers, and the Americans are going to like that. Voters are going to like that, so we can't have that. We got to criticize Trump for that. These people are unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, if you want to keep me from saying what I thought about Trump's performance last night, mostly it's performance that I'm talking about, you better call the show right now and tell me what you thought about the speech last night. That may prevent me from opening up on this. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Good to have you with us on this Thursday. Lee Sterling will be joining us in just a little bit from Paramount Sports. The college football playoffs getting ready to start. And we'll get his thoughts on the Chiefs going forward without Patrick Mahomes. Awful. We start today on the phones with Elmer in Shawnee Mission. Elmer, I don't think you're in Shawnee Mission, man, are you?
I'm in Shawnee Mission.
Well, there is no place. There's Shawnee and there's Mission, but there's a Shawnee Mission post office. That's about it. There is no Shawnee Mission.
There's no city, Shawnee Mission.
Right, so how do you live in Shawnee Mission?
There is a place called Shawnee Mission.
I see. So you're on Shawnee Mission Parkway right now?
Almost.
Okay.
1 block.
Gotcha. What's on your mind, my friend?
Trump is the best president the United States of America has ever had. Trump is the best president the United States of America will ever have. Trump is the best person in the whole world. And he took time to remind us of that last night, and there's nothing wrong with being reminded of it, especially by President Trump. And I'm surprised that you wouldn't be noting this at the top of your show today.
I noted that everything he said was awesome and that I agree with it, but I already knew it. There was nothing in there I didn't know except for the military payments. That's the only thing I didn't know. I knew all that stuff.
It never hurts. It never hurts for him to remind us of what a great human being he is. And I don't blame him for attacking Rob Reiner, and I hope he goes after John McCain again.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you.
That's a strong take, man. I appreciate you. My mom hates that he went after John McCain. To this day, hates it. It's like the one thing she remembers about him that she just cannot stand about Trump, that he did that. So, look, I mean, I can say Trump's the best president of my lifetime. I can't say of all time because I can read history books, but I don't know what it was like to be George Washington or Abe Lincoln or any of the other hosts of presidents or even Truman during World War II when he had to decide whether to drop that bomb or not. No, I can't. That's too much to say the greatest of all time. But I think he's the best. His policies are the ones I agree with most of any president in my lifetime. I'm good with that. Here is Fred in Overland Park, and I feel sure Fred is in Overland Park. Hi, Fred.
How you doing?
Great, buddy.
Yeah, I want to clarify something real quick because the mainstream deep state media twists everything around. What he was telling to the world and the country, because the media lies about everything,
right,
is when he ran, he said that with all the damage Joe and the left has done, I cannot fix this overnight.
Right.
But I'm going to fix the systems. That's the whole point on the tariffs, that we were robbed for years. I'm going to force them to, quote unquote, be fair. He told the pharmaceutical companies just, a month ago, that you're out of your mind if you're going to charge the rest of the world cheaper prices for the same medication. You're selling us for a fortune. That's going to stop.
So I totally agree with you.
All he said was, just like the tariffs, it was going to take some time to get all this going. And just like all of the professionals, the honest ones that have called into Aaron Mundo's show have said, that it's, for one, the sink was shipping with water coming in everywhere. He stopped all the prices from going up and up and up. And he just said it's going to take a little time.
I agree.
It's going down, and everybody's crying it's not fast enough.
I agree that's what he said. Will you agree with this? You already knew that. I already knew that. And everybody listening already knew that. He was supposedly addressing the nation to reach people that didn't know that. Would you agree?
Correct.
Okay. Here's the problem. Not the speech as it was written, although there were some issues with that as well. It was too fast. It was overmodulated. The microphone was right up against his face. You could barely see him. He stuttered around when he got lost on the teleprompter. It was his worst performance ever. I'm only talking style. I'm not talking policy with Trump. We're so accustomed to seeing him be so good at these things. He was not good at this speech last night. I was uncomfortable the whole time. I'm like, why is he angry? Why is he defensive? Why is he shouting when he's just sitting in the White House all by himself? Who's he shouting at? It's just him and a camera. The people who put the microphone up blew it. They clearly did a mic test with some mealy-mouthed little intern who walked up and said, test 1, 2, 3. And then Trump goes in and goes, rah, 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 rah. And the whole thing's overmodulated. All right, so I'm looking at this critically, stylistically. If I don't know politics and I'm turning this on, watching it, I've stopped listening to Trump about 2 minutes in going, why is he so angry and why is he shouting? What is he doing? The style hurt him last night. That was not the place for that.
I honestly didn't get to hear it, so I can't speak for that.
Okay. All right. Good enough. I appreciate you admitting that. That's awesome. I've got people in my circle that are absolutely dyed in the wool. Trump can do no wrong. Most awesome ever. And they've reached out to me after my podcast today and said, yeah, you know what? You're making a good point there. Right. It was not his finest moment. It's not the issues. It's not what he's doing. It's not that you don't love him. This has been a bad week for Trump. The Rob Reiner post was inappropriate. All right. Didn't hurt him all that much. Probably didn't change anybody's mind, whatever. Then we get Susie Wiles in Vanity Fair creating a controversy that did not need to exist. And the fact that the one woman who apparently stays behind the scenes and doesn't do interviews does 11 different interviews with Vanity Fair makes no sense to me. And then Trump hoodwinks the media into putting this on. I'm not sure they'll do it next time. Like if he's really got something to tell the American public, I'm not sure they'll do it. There's never been a speech like this. This was unprecedented. When the president calls the networks and says, I want 20 minutes of network TV time, I want it on everywhere, C-SPAN, every channel, live streaming, everyone in the world, I want them to see this. The expectation is he's about to explain why he's blocked Venezuela. And he's taking oil ships and he's blowing up drug boats. Or he's got an announcement that they've reached an agreement to end the Ukraine or Russia war. That's the leap of faith that networks take when their executives say, the time is yours, we're pushing Survivor back. All right? And maybe he was playing a game with them. Maybe it was a giant middle finger from Trump. Because all this was a campaign speech that we've heard 1,000 times. Not that I don't like his campaign speeches, but if I wanted this, I'd rather watch him in front of an audience. You know, reading 2 lines off the prompter and then just riffing. I just don't understand why this happened the way it did. All right, Candace is with us. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. And I completely think you're spot on, Kevin. I watched the first 90 seconds and came to every conclusion you just did. I wanted to hear him explain to the United States why it's important for the blockade of Venezuela and why we are justified in this. I heard nothing. I heard everything you heard. And thank you, Kevin. You're a rock star. Gotta go.
Thank you, Candace. I appreciate that. I hope I haven't lost listeners. You know, I know because I know this feeling too. I hear Pete say something or Vince say something on their show, or I'll hear something and go, oh, I don't agree with that at all. And that's okay. I want everybody to know I'm not talking about the substance. I'm not talking about the issues with Trump. I love all that. I love all that. That's not the issue. It was the style of this thing. It was the way the whole thing was conducted. I think they made a lot of mistakes. I think they're getting sloppy. I'm just going to tell you right now. The Bongino thing came out. He's quitting. This makes a lot of people really angry. Bongino, the FBI, was one of the dumbest moves they could ever make. The guy's a podcaster and a radio host. I don't belong at the FBI. I don't. And I know he was a cop and Secret Service and all that stuff. But Bongino went there to do what? He was going to upset the Epstein apple cart. Well, he got there, and what he find out? He found out the same thing everybody else. You know, there just isn't that much here to work with. And so now he's out, and maybe Kash Patel's next. And if that's the case, Andrew Bailey from Missouri will probably be the next FBI director, which I'd accept. There have been some people that haven't been great at their jobs. Do you think Pam Bondi's doing great? They're not above criticism, folks. Let's take a look at what they're doing. It feels like this was a sort of a defensive week of some sort of desperation, and I don't like it. It's around the holidays. It was unforced. They should have just stayed silent. Always great to have my good friend Lee Sterling on the show from ParamountSports.com. He is the Sultan of South Beach, the prognosticator of all things pigskin, and we love that as the college football playoff is upon us beginning tomorrow night. And Lee joins us. Again, the website, ParamountSports.com, is so many Missourians now have signed up on FanDuel, ready to rock. You got your $5 deposit and $300 to play with. You might want to take Lee's advice on some of these things. How are you, Lee? Happy holidays to you, my friend.
You too, my friend. Yeah, very excited. I love this time of year. Spend it with family and friends. It's my birthday on the 29th, so always got a little shortchanged over the holidays by my parents. But, excited about it. And This is a great time to sit around. I still love the bowl games. You're going to see some really good games here, like Texas and Michigan. That's a incredible game. Two blue bloods. So even if you're not just watching, the college football playoffs, there's still some great games and some great talent out there. You just got to approach it totally different.
Yeah.
You gotta study the portal. You got to find out. Like Texas, they have a slew, 6-7 starters on defense that are opting out for different reasons. Some to go in the draft, some are leaving, and some just don't want to play. They've been playing with injuries, and then you got to play underdogs. I mean, if you have a conviction on an underdog, play it and play also the money line. I mean, you see some 10, 12, 13, 15, and 16-point underdogs win outright, and it's not like the regular season. You hit on some underdogs in the bowl season, you can pay for some nice meals for your family or maybe even take a vacation.
I think one of the things I like about bowl season is every now and then there's like a Tuesday at 2:30, there's a game on, and they're pretty good teams. You're out of your routine. The cool thing about the holidays, it's a couple of weeks where you're just out of your whole annual routine of the grind that life can be, and you're just like, oh, it's Tuesday afternoon. Of course, there's a game on. This is awesome. I love that about this time of year.
Yeah, especially, if my wife wants me to help around the house, I'm like, honey, I got to watch a game. It's my job. So I've got the built-in excuse. So she gets it. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, and there's some really good players, and even on these teams like in the MAC, they get a lot of really good players like the MAC, the Ohio team. They have a really good quarterback and running back. And if these guys, aren't seniors, a lot of times they're transferring out and they're going to a bigger school. So I use it as a lot of, scouting and a lot of games. And some of the best bets I make are the no bets. I don't bet the game at all. Watch it, take some notes, and you use it early for the next season.
Lee Sterling's with us. ParamountSports.com is his website. Lee, let's talk about these, not specifically the matchups this weekend, but the college football playoff starts. And the marquee game, I think, of the weekend is the first one up, Alabama at Oklahoma on Friday night. But Friday night typically is like the lowest watch television night of the week. Then you get Miami and A&M, which is the next best game, and that's at 11 o'clock Kansas City time on Saturday morning. The more marquee time slots are Tulane and Ole Miss on Saturday afternoon, which is a traditional spot for college football, and then James Madison against Oregon on Saturday night. Are you surprised the way they lined these up for TV?
Well, a little bit. I mean, you do have the Bears and the Packers game Saturday night, so I thought they should have put the Miami game against Texas A&M in the afternoon. So, start off with James Madison and Oregon or Tulane and Ole Miss. Yeah, I was a little shocked. Usually they get it right, but I thought they made a mistake here. Last year it was all favorites. I mean, this could be the year we see a couple underdogs. One of them is I like Miami here. They played there in 2022, so they did it last time and came within a touchdown of winning the game with Tyler Van Dyke as quarterback. Now they got Carson Beck. He's already won a national title. He's played in big games here. Probably has the best player on the field and teammate Malichi Tony. This guy's caught 84 passes, hasn't dropped a pass. Now they're using him in the Wildcat, reverses, throwing the ball. I think A&M is good here, but I think they're ripe for the picking. I think we're going to see an upset. I like my Miami Hurricanes here, 24-23. I think they win the game straight up, plus 3.5.
That is your team. That's also my next head coach sitting there up in the box for A&M calling those plays. We may have to you have to text me. We have to have a little friendly wager on the side. And I'm not saying I know anything or I'm all in on A&M just for fun as a couple of friends.
Right.
One of those
Sounds
things.
Good.
All right, let's do a couple of picks here. Lee Sterling's with ParamountSports.com. And we will start today with the Missouri Tigers that are playing in the Gator Bowl against Virginia next week. We're doing some of these in advance a little bit here because Lee's going to be off for a couple of weeks, which is understandable. The Tigers are a 6.5-point favorite. First of all, how do you go about figuring out how hard is it to figure out who's playing in the bowl games? Right. And what do you think of Missouri and Virginia? The Tigers are 6.5-point favorite.
Well, bowl games, you got to look at how the teams and how the coaches perform. And Virginia's is one of these teams. They're better as an underdog, as a favorite. Like last week against Duke, fell behind and couldn't catch up. But, as an underdog, pulled some big upsets this year on Friday night, second week of the season, beat Florida State. Also, looked good in the first game against Duke, but playing the second time as a favorite wasn't their customary role here. So love the quarterback. Chandler Morris can run and throw the football and has a lot of good complementary pieces here. I think 6.5 is just a little too much laying it for Missouri here with an offense really has not proven themselves against decent defenses. And Virginia is one of these teams, they bend but don't break. I like Virginia here straight up here, 31-28.
Big game in the AFC this week is the Broncos, a 3-point favorite over the Jaguars. The Broncos are currently the 1 seed. The Jaguars, one of the surprise teams, along with the Bears and the Patriots and maybe one or two others. What do you think about the Broncos and Jags this week?
Yeah, so I just think that the Jaguars here are good, but maybe not as good as they've looked the last couple of weeks. They're 5-0 straight up and against the spread the last 5 games, but they beat no one. I mean, 4 of those wins were by 29, 22, 17, and 28 points here. Just think that they got to travel all the way across country, play at altitude here. Trevor Lawrence has looked great, throwing 6 touchdowns last week against a lousy Jets defense. Jets probably wouldn't have a win if it wasn't for their special teams. And they have the number 3 run defense through the Broncos here, and Bo Nix is gaining confidence. Give me Denver. I think they pull away from the Jags here 30-13.
And finally, the broken down Chiefs against the always broken Tennessee Titans, or at least for this year, always broken. A couple of teams might be trying to lose for draft position. What do you think of this one?
Yeah. Tennessee, I don't think there's that, that one player that's going to change the franchise like last year. They needed to get a quarterback. Yeah. Would they like to have the first pick? Could they trade it maybe to a couple teams? But Fernando Mendoza, I don't think is going to change a franchise here. So this Tennessee team played hard a couple weeks ago on the road and won at Cleveland. So why not again here? I just think you might see some Chief players sit here. Whatever they have left, they're probably holding it for next week and going to play as hard as they can against Denver at home on Christmas Day here. So I'm not going to be surprised if we see an upset. I like Tennessee here. Hate to say it, 27-20.
All right, tomorrow on my podcast, Kevin Keatsman Has Issues. Lee will join me to talk about the college football playoff lines. If you want to hear those, just listen to the podcast on Friday morning or anytime leading up to kickoff in those. Lee, if people want to get a hold of you and they've just signed up in Missouri on FanDuel for $5 and gotten $300 worth of wagers, where can they get your advice on who to bet on?
Well, just check out all the specials at ParamountSports.com. We do football, basketball, hockey, and UFC, although the UFC's taken off for another 5 weeks. But winning in all 4 sports. We've won 12 of the last 15 weeks on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So you want the last 2 weeks of the college football playoffs. Got the first 2 weeks there. You got 25 bowl games through the end of the year and 2 weeks of the NFL. Use coupon code SAVE100, just $297 through December 31st. It's called Double Down December. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time. As always, happy holidays. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
You too. Sounds good.
All right. He is Lee Sterling. ParamountSports.com is his website if you want to check it out. He's got videos up there, information on how to do wagers. I had somebody ask me the other night at the holiday Christmas party, if I sign up for FanDuel, how do I know? I don't understand what a parlay is because, like, I talk with Mark. I talk with you all the time about parlays and stuff. If you don't know what those are, I said, well, eventually using the app, you'll learn what they all are. But Lee's also the website's free. If you want to go to ParamountSports.com, you can go check it out and get some advice on how to do things. It's a very individual thing. Like, I think your favorite thing is betting on players more than game outcomes, isn't it?
I like to do both.
Okay.
I like to do both. I like to do some big favorite parlays sometimes. So like college basketball, this time of year, there's big favorites. So you can bet a team It's minus 4,000 to win, right?
Right.
So put a lot of those together. Put like 10, 12, 15 of those together, and it adds up to like plus 300. That's one way to do a parlay.
That makes 3-1 odds for you.
Yeah.
Would you ever take one and do 5 or 6 of those and then sneak in somebody that's an underdog? And how much would that help?
That's also fun. Yeah, do like 5 or 6 of those, and then one, like KU the other day was a slight underdog, I think, at North Carolina State. Throw that in there, and then it boosts it up to about plus 500.
It's fun. It's good, and it's for recreational and whatever purposes only, folks. Don't ever bet more than you can afford to have fun. But if you like watching sports, you'll be amazed if you got $10 on a game how much harder you'll root for the team that you bet on or the player.
Yeah, I was looking last night. I mean, Old Dominion in South Florida, nobody cared about that game, and I'm watching it. My wife's like, "Hey, stop watching that. We got the baby to take care of here." I'm like, "Oh, You're right. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need to be watching this."
But so you had nothing on it?
So I'm 2-2 now in bowl season, so I did have a little something on it.
How many games that are on TV do you not have something on?
I don't have anything on Missouri State yet for tonight, but
Okay.
there's still time.
A good NFL game tonight, right? Rams at Seattle?
Yeah, Rams at Seattle is going to be a good one.
That's a really good one. I like Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that? Because the Rams are supposedly the best team, right?
Supposedly. But it's in Seattle.
I like Seattle.
1 seed on the line.
These division games, that division's good, man. I've always enjoyed watching that division quite a bit. Did you see the statement the Royals put out yesterday about the stadium issue and what was going on in Overland Park? Have you read this? Have you seen what they said?
I have not.
Not read it? So the Royals got bombarded by all these different people. The city of Leawood, the mayor came out. T-Mobile said last week, hey, they're evicting us. We know the Royals hold the mortgage on this property. Pete mentioned they tried to do a deal with Black & Veatch about some land, and Black & Veatch wasn't having it. Menorah Medical Center is concerned that people won't be able to get in and out during game days or things like that to their hospital. And so the Royals put out a statement, and it goes like this. The Royals have a long history of working to make Greater Kansas City a better place. As such, we are deeply committed to building a stadium environment that prioritizes the health, safety, and traffic concerns of our neighbors. Wherever we build our next generational home, the project will be guided by strong community collaboration. We pledge to create an unsurpassed fan and community experience, one that elevates our region and serves as a place of great regional pride for us all. That screams Overland Park at me. Most people took this as, the Royals are running for the hills. They can't do Overland Park. They're scared to death of what's happened. No, they use the word region a million times. That's code for not Kansas City.
Yeah, regional means in the Kansas City area.
That's right. It means not KCMO. Literally, that's why they Kansas City region or area or metropolitan area or whatever. And then they went to great length to say concerns of our neighbors. For the next generational home, the project will be guided by strong community collaboration. Monday at 1 is this meeting in Topeka. And this is, I guess, theoretically, it's going to be it unless they decide to extend the Star Bond offer, which I can't imagine they're going to do that again. Maybe 30 more days. No, please don't do that. Please, let's know by Monday what's going on with the Royals and Chiefs. And I think it's fairly simple. They could simply send a letter of intent that we intend to build at this location. We've done the due diligence. We want to work forward on a contract by June 30th next year to make this official, and we'll start breaking ground or whatever with a target date of X to open the stadium. I think both teams can do that by Monday and still not be obligated to do it. I think that's the case because anything could fall through. And that's when the Royals would start working guided by strong community collaboration. That means we're going to pay off Leawood. We're going to do something nice for the hospital. The Jewish Community Center, we got these shiny little things over here for you. And T-Mobile, we know a piece of land or a place or somebody in real estate that we can get you a sweetheart deal. That's collaboration. That might not make the Real Housewives of Hallbrook very happy, but I don't know what will make those women happy.
The Real Housewives of Hallbrook don't get to go to the meeting.
Right.
So they won't be there.
Well, I've said it a million times. The Royals really don't care what you and I think. You know, they care about the people right there that own the businesses, and they care about the end result. Is this going to make us more money, and what's the best deal for them? And I do think, as of right now, the best deal for the Royals is 119th and Null. That doesn't mean I think it's the best place, because I don't. I think North Kansas City would be an awesome place for that ballpark and a really, really unique community vibe, an old ballparky vibe. I don't think they'll have that in Overland Park, but I could see where it's an absolute winner, and in the end, we look back and any concerns people have been alleviated, and it just becomes our norm, and we're like, wow, this is pretty cool. I think no matter what the Chiefs and Royals do, Kansas City, in the end, will say, hey, that's pretty cool. Way to go. We come back, we'll check in with more in Mark's world, and a breakfast joint has shoes that are really sticky, and they're for sale. That's next on KCMO. Thank you to any of our listeners that helped out with the Roberts Robinson Chevy GMC and Excelsior Springs toy drive. I just got a video from Mike Robinson up there. This is a passion project of mine. It has been for years. We mentioned it on the podcast. We mentioned it here. And I got emails from some of you that listen to the radio show, and you went by there, or you Amazon sent a package for a kid. They've unwrapped them all. If they came in Amazon, the truck, it's a GMC Canyon on the showroom floor that's overflowing with toys. One of our listeners took a bicycle up there. It's right in front of the truck. And then there's packages all over the truck. That looked pretty good, didn't it, Mark?
Yeah, that was awesome. Great for the kids. Great for everybody. Everybody feels good.
There will be some kids that think the world is a brighter place because of this holiday season. I like that a whole lot. All right, Mark, are you a tennis shoe guy? Do you understand this collectible Jordans and whatever? Do you think tennis shoes are like really cool?
I like tennis shoes. I'm not a sneakerhead like some people, but I like them.
But you can see why people maybe collect them.
Yeah, for sure.
If you were a collector, tell me if you're in on this. At Denny's, they have made a pair of shoes for the holidays. You have to download their app. You have to be one of their Denny's Club, whatever that thing is. It's a kind of a cool-looking shoe, I'm not going to lie, and it's got on the side of each of the shoes, it has sort of a plastic window, and inside the plastic window is maple syrup.
I just looked it up. That looks awesome.
You like it?
I like it.
$195.
Okay, I don't like it that much.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks cool.
But it might be a collectible.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes with an instruction manual that says, do not attempt to get the maple syrup out. Do not consume it. Don't do anything. Just wear the shoes, and there you go. But at some point, you got a problem on your hands, and those shoes are just going to be sticky, aren't they?
Yeah, like I'm looking at it right now. Eventually, the plastic's going to wear out, right?
Exactly. It has to. But it kind of looks okay for Denny's, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's a great shoe.
I love Denny's. I'm not afraid to say it. I kind of grew up on Denny's as a breakfast place, but I never thought of them as a pancake place. More of a sausage patties and hash brown, scrambled eggs kind of. Yeah. Maybe some biscuits and gravy. That's kind of my thing with Denny's. $195 for the shoes. Kirk Herbstreit deleted a post from last week. I don't know if you saw this, Mark. He is with ESPN, and he was getting ready to promote his podcast. He said it's going to be a tough podcast this week as there's no college football. And Army and Navy were not happy with him.
Ooh.
That was the only game of the weekend, and I think what he meant was there's no playoff or bowl game football. He deleted the post. I think that's nitpicking. He was sort of saying, hey, we're going to find some other topics to talk about here on the podcast other than this because there's no college football.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows an apology or anything like that. I think sometimes it's tough being these folks. You know, that's not worthy of being hammered. Navy was really upset, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's a little overreach by Navy.
A little much. Last night, I'm a geek. I was watching Golf Channel. Did you see this thing on there?
No.
They have something called the Golf Channel Games now. Rory McIlroy had a team of 4. Scotty Scheffler had a team of 4. It's at night. It was at Trump Doral. They had lights, and they had a relay hole where all 4 members of the team are to hit one shot. Rory's team made a birdie on a par 4 in 28 seconds.
Nice. That's fun.
You hit the drive, the guy runs out, whacks it real fast, green side chip, guy knocks in a putt. Fantastic stuff. The Vince Show coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio.